Is John Ossoff a communist, a Chinese communist? Is John Ossoff a communist? Let's see. You have David Perdue, who's running against John Ossoff. This is the Georgia elections that's happening today. Shane Hazel, John Ossoff, and David Perdue are all running against each other.
Did you or not, did you work for that Chinese communist company? PCCW is a media company in Hong Kong that's owned by China Unicom and owned by the Chinese government.
So PCCW is a company owned by Hong Kong. And then somehow that's like Chinese communist.
So the question is, for the last 2 years, he's been working on them. That's on top of working for Al Jazeera for the last decade.
Mr. Ossoff, I'll let you answer that, and then we'll move on to the next question. As I predicted, Senator Perdue doesn't want to talk about COVID-19, a pandemic.
So this is a video that says John Ossoff refuses to answer for his business ties to the communist Chinese government. He doesn't respond to that because it sounds like the shit that they're saying, against Lee Camp and Abby Martin and anybody that works at RT, Al Jazeera. He mentioned Al Jazeera, so it's a media company. So what, he went there and I don't know I'm curious. But I feel like this is just a dumb bullshit attack. What, you worked for Russia Today, so therefore you must be a communist? So it sounds to me, just right off the top, like it's a bunch of bullshit. It's what the right wing does. It just says you look at them, they're radical left wing, they're communists, they're out of their minds, they're just totally. And John Ossoff's policies, he's against the Green New Deal. John Ossoff is against Medicare for all. John Ossoff is against defunding the police. So he's not for defunding the police. He's not for a Green New Deal. He's not. That's fascism. So not for the Green New Deal. Not for Medicare for all. What kind of communist isn't for universal health care? So he's not. He's progressive. He's not progressive enough for me. But he's not a communist, and he's not a socialist. It's a dumb, stupid. It's a dumb fucking smear.
That
it's bullshit.
Nearly 250,000 Americans. He is going to spend this entire debate deflecting from a substantive conversation about the most serious public health crisis in generations. He will launch false attacks. He'll make outlandish allegations.
So we're still not talking about it, and I guess I can understand it. He should have just some explanation. Look, PCCW is like Russia Today, so guess what? Lee Camp is a badass. Abby Martin's a badass. So thank you, Russia Today, for telling us the truth. I want to know the truth, and so if it's Russia Today, Al Jazeera, if MSNBC and CNN and TYT, if they don't want to tell us the truth, then we got to find our truth where we can get it. And I don't know John Ossoff, like I said, the extent of his work for the PCCW, but if it's like RT, then, who gives a shit?
He'll repeat the same 6 words over and over and over again because it's what his handlers in Washington have trained him to do, to evade responsibility.
Shane Hazel's the libertarian in the race. Shane Hazel's a Marine veteran. Shane Hazel is anti-imperialism, anti-pork, anti-federal government, and wants to end the war on drugs, anti-war on drugs. So anti-imperialist, anti-pork, anti-federal government, just wants us to be states and in the war on drugs. He's against the war on drugs. So you have a libertarian option, and I bet you it's going to be a close race, so the libertarian option is going to have an effect.
And avoid a substantive discussion of where we go forward now to contain this virus. And here's the answer. We put the medical experts and public health experts in charge, not failed and disgraced politicians like
Thank you for your time. We're going to move on to the next point.
So they leveled shit, a bunch of attacks at Jimmy Dore saying he takes Assad money and Steve Bannon money, and then they said Anna takes NATO money. And here, John Ossoff, you have David Perdue saying John Ossoff is taking communist China money. It's so fucking dumb. It's so, it doesn't land, and it actually, I think it makes John Ossoff look cooler. So you got, Shane Hazel, the libertarian, anti-imperialist, anti-pork, anti-federal government, and anti-war on drugs. Now with David Perdue, he's 71 years old. He's got a mixture, some good things, some bad things. So he's a homophobic bigot, so he's against gay people. He's in favor of the Second Amendment. He's pro-life on abortion. He's anti-tariff. He's pro-database of police misconduct. He's against human trafficking. He's in favor of Saudi Arabia. He wants free vocational school. He's an imperialist. He wants to repeal Obamacare. He's against Medicare for all, but he don't even want a public option, so he's still fighting Obamacare like the dinosaur that he is. And so it's a mixture, right? He's got a mixture of some good, some bad. But ultimately, the Republicans, new chapter, new president, let's get a new Congress, let's get, it's not like the Democrats are going to have, totalitarian control. It's only going to make it 50 to 50. 50 to 50. So it'll take Kamala Harris to break the tie. So that means the Democrats have just barely the teensiest, tiniest bit of control. All it would take is one senator say that they're not going to do something, and then it doesn't get done. That's if John Ossoff and Warnock get elected. That's if they get elected. If they don't get elected, then the Senate is solidly in the hands of the Republicans. 52 to 48.
I think I get a response. He named me in that answer.
Very quickly.
Well, again, he talks about taking responsibility, but he won't do that. He misled the people of Georgia in the primary. This is really important here because it goes to trust and judgment. If you want somebody to represent you in the United States Senate, you better hope they have good judgment and that you can trust them. He misled everybody in the primary. He then refiled after the primary was over and is now told the legal document that he filed says that he indeed worked for that company, even though before, in our last debate, he said he did not. And if that's confusing, go to my website, PurdueSenate.com, and you'll get that cleared up, and you'll see why he's not wanting to answer the question and why he won't.
So it sounds to me like it's just a dumb smear. Oh, you work for Russia Today, so therefore you must be a Russian communist. Or maybe it's the only media out there that's telling the truth, and So, John Ossoff, when it comes to his policies, he's against the Green New Deal, he's against defunding the police, and he's against Medicare for all. So he's not a radical leftist, he's against Medicare for all, which is, fucked up. He's for the public option, so it's a little bit better. He wants to reform ICE, he doesn't want to abolish ICE. So he's not radical in the least bit. He wants statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico. He wants free 4-year college. So he's got some progressive values, some progressive things. So when it comes to, is he a socialist or a communist? Definitely not. Now the question is he a good or bad progressive? So he's for gun control, and that I don't like that, but it's not terrible. But he's got a lot of good things. He's got a lot of great things, actually. So he's pro-choice, pro-gay folks. He's against human trafficking also, just like David Perdue is, which is important. Ban private prisons, free 4-year college, statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico. This is all the stuff that John Ossoff wants for Georgia and wants for America. So rural broadband access, internet for the rural areas, a new Civil Rights Act, ban private prisons, free 4-year college, against human trafficking, pro-choice. He's pro-gay folks. So public option, right? Okay, reform ICE, all right. Free 4-year college, hell yeah. Pro-gay folks. So there's a lot of good things there. There's a lot of good things with John Ossoff. He's, not a fucking communist. God damn it. For me, I feel like I wouldn't even consider David Perdue in the slightest. If you're mature and responsible, you probably should vote for John Ossoff, because even if the Democrats have control of the Senate, do we get a progressive agenda? We get closer to possibly getting one. Maybe, perhaps, but he's not even for Medicare for all, so we'll have to push him too. We got to push Pelosi, we got to push Biden, we have to push Ossoff in order to get, Medicare for all. And that's, that's some bullshit.
He won't take his own advice about taking responsibility.
So, he's not even taking his own advice about taking responsibility. There's insider trading. David Perdue, there's apparently him and Loeffler are involved in some insider trading stuff. So, yeah, but for me it'd be between John Ossoff and Shane Hazel. Shane Hazel's, against the war on drugs. John Ossoff is not. And he's saying get rid of the federal government. I think if we started over, it would be better. Shane Hazel's also very much against the wars. He's a Marine veteran who's against imperialism. Where's John Ossoff on the endless wars? On imperialism. Where's John Ossoff on these things? So, yeah. Georgia, vote for John Ossoff. Vote for Shane Hazel. Do not vote for David Perdue. Free Mumia.
Peace.